AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Chris Lee Kennedy, and this is the show where we bring you the day's biggest movie news, and of course we give you insight into what it all means. Joining us as the captain of our ship today, our production manager, Mr. Dennis Sen.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another new episode of AMC Movie Talk. I'm Dennis Sen, filling in for John Campia. In this particular episode, it's the attack of the Australians today.
And starting with our first Australian is AMC's very own Alicia Malone.
Watch out, we're coming to get ya. And female-led Ghostbusters, what a crazy idea. That would never work.
We also have from geekbomb.net, Miss Maud Garrett.
G'day guys, I'm the second Australian Sheila. I don't know what a Sheila is.
And we also have the director of the upcoming film, The Death of Superman Lives. What happened? Mr. John Schnepp.
I am the third Australian. Oh, just kidding. I'm American. Hi, guys. Hello. Hi.
All right, guys, it was a big weekend for Marvel and its movie Guardians of the Galaxy, which debuted with $94 million in its opening weekend, which not only was much higher than projected, but destroyed the August box office premiere record, which was previously held by The Bourne Ultimatum with $69.3 million in 2007. Guardians opened slightly lower than Captain America the Winter Soldier, but higher than Thor the Dark World, and more recently, Amazing Spider-Man 2, and X-Men Days of Future Past. Dennis, what do you think were the reasons behind Guardians of the Galaxy's surprisingly successful opening?
It was definitely a surprise. They were tracking it for like high 60s, maybe low mid 70s, and $90 million. That's crazy. It's funny because in an old episode, I think Schnepp, you, me, and John were talking about the projections, and me and John were talking about, hey, I think Planet of the Apes is going to do better. We'll get probably like 60 or 70 for Guardians, but you were right.
Yeah.
It hit 90.
Guys, it's kind of weird when you're totally right and everyone else on the planet is wrong. It's kind of awesome.
Actually, I too had this conversation with Alicia, and after we watched the movie for the first time, we were talking about where it would project, and I was like, 60, 70, 80.
And I was like, you're crazy.
I was like, it's going to be the best movie
way.
I've ever seen. So
I said 100 million, guys.
Yeah. So you were a lot closer than me and John. But I think one of the main reasons is because Marvel's a trusted brand now. They've done so many movies, and besides what people say about Iron Man 3 and some other of the movies, none of the movies are terrible. Right. They're all pretty good. You know, some are better than others, but there isn't like a stinker in the bunch. So they've built up that loyalty. Otherwise, how else can you explain something like Guardians of the Galaxy that nobody has heard of?
Yeah.
Nobody. All of a sudden, people show up at the red carpet. They're big fans of this property that even like as myself that read comic books, I barely knew who Guardians of the Galaxy was. And I also think there's a curiosity factor. You have to remember the last new kind of character-led franchise was the first Captain America. Because since then we've had Thor 2, Captain America 2, Avengers, which is assembly of all those. So Guardians is actually the first new one in a long time. So Schnepp, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a super nerd, so I actually bought Rocket Raccoon 1 through 4 back in the olden days. So yeah, like aside from some of the people who like actually read comics, most people never heard of what the Guardians of the Galaxy were and what it is. But I think it's word of mouth and just the interest of something new. Yeah. That's why I think so many people flock to see this. Not only the brand of Marvel, which means like, oh, we know what we're going to get, but here's this brand new universe of all these cool and interesting looking characters. A talking tree, a tiny, like, you know, angry raccoon with a giant gun. I mean, who doesn't want to see that? And if it's done well, I mean, I just think all those things coming together and seeing great trailers kept that word of mouth and that buzz that just kept building. So, I mean, I'm really happy, and the movie delivers. So it's not one of those things where it's like it's an empty, oh, it made $100 million, but it sucks. It's actually a really fun and entertaining film. I can't wait to see it a second time.
Alicia?
Well, I think it's interesting to note that 44% of the ticket movie buying audience, whatever, were female. And that is the highest percentage out of any Marvel movie.
Wow.
I also think it's interesting that 55% of ticket buyers were over the age of 25. And I think it speaks to the nostalgic value of this property, how they weaved in the great soundtrack and then those great pop culture references that someone like me really loved. Also, 3D tickets accounted for 45% of the total price, and you know, with ticket prices being a lot higher for 3D and IMAX, that makes up a lot of money. I just think the marketing team did such a great job because they took this unknown property. In the trailers, they really focused on the relationships between the characters, and that made it seem not so weird that there's a raccoon and a tree. I mean, without big stars, I didn't expect it to do this well, but I'm really glad it did.
Well, speaking of the over 25, when I got out of seeing it for the second time, there was this crowd of like 4 or 5 senior citizens raving about how much they love the movie. And I was like, okay,
that's awesome.
You've got a hit on your hand when that's happening.
Yeah.
Maude, what do you think?
Well, I think the big part of this is the success of the movie. So you do have the hype, everyone's selling it, and then when you're going to watch it, you go back the next day. You've seen it twice,
Yeah.
I've seen it twice. Like, people have that return value immediately, which is why I think we got to 90, because it could have been 60 if you only saw it once, but everyone went back. And I think, you know, we are talking about the nostalgia of the soundtrack. That first trailer that dropped, everyone kind of sat up and listened a little bit more, because they're like, this is not only really cool, but it's really funny. And I think some of the times comic book adaptations can get a little bit serious, and this is injected with humour. And a lot of the response for this movie was, this is like watching Star Wars again for the first time, which again could be why the 25-year-old pluses are loving this, because we haven't, like, I never got to see Star Wars in the cinema, and I felt like I just did. And I think that was the reward that we got.
Well, the movie like just opens up all these different parts of the Marvel cosmic universe. We're going to all these different home worlds. That's what's really exciting. Just within the first 20 minutes, you've just gone to like 4 different galaxies. You know, it's pretty fun. So it's you know, and also it opened in I think over 4,000 theaters. It was the largest rollout that's it Marvel's ever had.
And it hasn't even opened in a lot of international markets. Australia still haven't got it yet, so
and we've already got a sequel.
Do really well.
Right, there's already a mixtape too. What are the songs going to be?
Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga.
Chrisley, what did you think of Guardians?
I mean, I don't think there's anything really not to like about it. It was a super fun film. Marvel's showing us again that, I mean, we just have to have our faith with them, because they've shown us time and time again that they just continue to bring out fun. And this is a movie that everyone can enjoy. Like you guys were saying, every time I've gone to see it, which has only been twice, the audience is from children to grandparents. It's men and women, and everybody are laughing. Everyone feels from it. You get the best of everything in this. You get the team up. There's a little bit of a Star Wars feel to some spots. You get that 80s pop, like Alicia was saying. Like, this is such a fun movie. If you don't like this, you clearly don't like to have fun. Sorry.
All right, what's next?
All right, speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, the film's director, James Gunn, took to Facebook this weekend to congratulate the cast and crew, and stated that instead of celebrating this weekend, that he was actually working on the sequel. This is the final paragraph in Gunn's message. And of course, I'm not really saying goodbye, as while many of you have been enjoying the film, I've spent this weekend hard at work on the sequel. I couldn't help myself. The results are nice, but it's really the creative process I love, and that keeps me going. I'm on fire with this thing. The Guardians have so many hardships and heartaches and triumphs ahead of them, and I can't wait to share them with all of you. 1 week, on to week 2. Love, James. Schnepp, what are your thoughts on Gunn's message and the idea of a sequel?
Well, obviously, he's really excited. I mean, they gave him a lot of creative freedom, and it's paid off. I mean, all of the Gunnisms that are in there and the little flavory moments that speak within all of his other movies that are in this movie, I think everyone said, go for it. So, you know, if you guys were Gunn, wouldn't you be like, yeah, why don't you guys party? There's a typewriter. I'm coming up with some new ideas, you know, for the next, 2 years. Like, really, it's got to be so much fun. Like, being in part of the media world and being allowed to let your creative juices fly out in such a great way. I can't wait for the Guardians too. So I'm happy to hear that he's writing a second one.
Maude?
I love hearing words like, I'm on fire, I couldn't help it. Like that for a director, this isn't work for him, this is his life. And that will resonate, and we've already seen it. So his excitement for this is very infectious, and he wrote and directed the first one. He knows this world better than absolutely anyone. And we've left it with the first Guardians, where so many things are happening. Groot's a root, back again, a dancing root.
Spoiler alert.
At that. Oh, okay. Groot. Well, at least he doesn't get a root, but that's an Australian thing at the same time.
Root canal, that's what she meant.
Yes.
Groot gets a root canal.
But you've also got Drax, who wants to bring down, the head of the galactic, Thanos. So he's got another goal. There's chemistry between the two mains, so we've got so much room to grow with this, pun intended.
Alicia?
Yeah, I want to see more, the continuing adventures of the Guardians. We got to speak with James Gunn, and he is so excited. He loves this group. He really has a great affection for them. So I'm so happy that he is being allowed to do a sequel and they're not changing directors. They'd be silly too. I like that his style. He definitely has all the Gunnisms. But as to what I want to see in a sequel, I definitely want to see more of Thanos. Me and Schnepp were talking about how Ronan, the villain in this one, seems a little bit not like the big guy. He's like the one underneath the big guy. I want to see Star-Lord, more of him, and more Gamora. Her backstory is really interesting. James Gunn tweeted that there would be one more Guardians character added to the sequel from the comics. So who could that be? I don't know. And I don't want another film based on a MacGuffin. I'm tired of the object being the plot device. You know, it sounds like that's what we're getting with Avengers 2. I'd like for it to go in a different direction, like Cap did, Captain America.
I think it's a wonderful message that he wrote. It was, you know, very humble, and he's thanking his cast and crew and even the fans, especially because this movie was a risk. You know, he as a director hasn't directed something this big before, and Marvel hasn't put out something this kind of risky ever before, and it paid off. And now that he's on for the second one, I say, yeah, let's get started on that.
I wonder if they're going to bring back, because the original script was written by a woman.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're bringing her back. Her name escapes me right now, but she's the one who actually sold Marvel on this 70s property. You know, it was redone recently, so it was a bit kind of a bigger hit, the Guardians of the Galaxies, and that's what this new movie's based on. But all the old properties, Starlins, Thanos, all bringing all these characters from the 70s into the Marvel universe now. I wonder if they're going to bring her back. So.
All right, now we're on to our buy or sell segment. Chrisley, what do we got?
The first two images have been released for Tim Burton's new film, Big Eyes. Big Eyes is based on the true story of painter Margaret Keane, whose saucer-eyed kids' paintings became famous in the 50s and 60s, however, were credited to her husband, Walter. Margaret eventually became tired of the lack of recognition, and it led to their divorce and a court battle over authorship of the paintings. Who wouldn't do the same? The movie stars Amy Adams and Christoph Waltz and opens in AMC theaters on December 25th. Alicia, buy or sell these images?
I buy. I mean, Amy Adams and Christoph Waltz in a Tim Burton film. Oh, I'm so excited. And Tim Burton is an artist. I love these big eye paintings. They look like something he could create himself. And the story is so fascinating. The Margaret and Walter Keane, how Margaret did the paintings, Walter claimed to do them, and then how they were going to decide the authorship was side by side.
A paint-off.
Paint-off? Like, that is so awesome.
Yeah, like,
until, the shoulder injury, I can't do it. It just begs to be told on cinema, and Tim Burton's exactly the right guy to do it. And I love the look of these pictures because this time period, I love the 50s, 60s, and I just think it looks fantastic. Bring it on.
Maud?
Well, like you said, she does these sort of period movies so well. We've seen her in the 70s already, and it got her a nod in an Oscar nomination. The Hollywood Foreign Press love Amy Adams. They love her. So if this movie is actually well written and it all kind of falls into place, I have a feeling that she could be taking home a lot of awards. But Tim Burton is definitely the right guy for this movie because he actually commissioned Margaret Keane to do a portrait of his then girlfriend in the 90s, Lisa Marie. So he's got such an affinity with this whole story. Like, he's really personally involved. There is a lack of Johnny Depp as far as a Tim Burton movie goes, but I'm sure he'll do a cameo in one of the big-eyed paintings.
Right.
I buy them for now. Nothing really stands out about the pictures themselves, but I like
the concept.
Yeah, it's the concept. I like the story, and I like that Tim Burton is doing a story that's based on something true instead of his usual kooky, quirky, fantasy element type of thing. So I'm interested in that. Schnepp?
Yeah, I buy it. He has a couple of Keane's originals in his house since I was there, and also the cool thing is it's the same writers who wrote Ed Wood.
Yeah.
So that to me is incredibly exciting. This property, this script has been moving around for quite a bit. Originally they were even going to direct it, then things fell apart. Burton's schedule opened up. He brought the property back to life, and he's directing it. So I think it's a great synergy. Those guys hit a home run. Yeah, it's one of my favorite Burton films, Ed Wood. So this is going to have that flavor. So I'm really excited about it.
All right, Chrisley, what's next?
In 2010, Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland was a huge hit at the box office, though the reception by critics and audiences were mixed. The follow-up to that film, named Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass, will be directed by the Muppets director, James Bobbin. The movie has just started production with a May 27th, 2016 release date. Dennis, buy or sell the Alice in Wonderland sequel beginning production?
I'll buy it. I mean, I thought the first one actually was pretty flat. I didn't really care for it, but it made a buttloads of money, so they're obviously going to make it. And I like James Bobbin. I like the first two Muppet movies that he made. He also directed episodes of the Ali G Show and Flight of the Conchords, which are two hilarious shows. So I'm all for it. Maud?
I think the big success of this is the fact that most of the original cast is back. So you've got, Helen Bonham Carter, you've got Anne Hathaway, Johnny Depp's, of course, being back. Burton's still producing this one as well, but they're getting Sacha Baron Cohen in. So that's kind of like, I think you're right, this could be absolutely hilarious. I just hope they learn from the last one, which was all show, no substance. And that just can't happen again. But, you know, if the success of the first one gave that many dollars, I have a feeling that it should be kind of, whatever happens, happens. Yeah, regardless of whether it's good or not. So I'm not going to, can I sit on the fence? I will not buy myself. Okay. I'm going to sit on the fence. Uncomfortably.
Side saddling it. I'm going to hesitantly buy it. I mean, I wasn't a giant fan of the Burton Alice in Wonderland. I thought it visually looked cool, but then the story just really fell apart. And I mean, I loved seeing Helena Bonham Carter with that giant head and all the frogs. So I wish it just went a little more crazy and more abstract instead of this kind of run-of-the-mill story. So maybe that's gonna, the second one will go a little farther, you know, with its creepy visuals. Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter is just pure creepiness. Yeah, he's freakish. I feel like I've got to be on a lot of drugs if I see the second movie, or you should be at least on a lot of drugs like brownies. You know, and chocolate chips and sugar and things. So that's what I'm talking about. So.
Alicia?
I sell this one because although I think James Bovin is a great choice for director because he really reinvented that Muppets movie, he made it so fresh and funny, I don't want to see another sequel, personally. I didn't like the first one. I agree if it went dark and weird, that would be so cool, but it was very Disney-ified. It was Tim Burton light, and I didn't like that at all. Sacha Baron Cohen, that's cool. He's worked with James on the Ali G show. He's playing a character called Time. That's interesting, but I'm just not that keen. I know it makes sense from a business point of view, but just personally, I don't care. I don't want to see it. Give me something original.
How's Bobin though? Like big shoes to fill. Can you imagine taking on a Burton film that he's already done?
That has the look of a Burton film.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go near that if I was him. So he's kind of brave.
No, it's a challenge. You know, he's going to add his own weird flavor
add
to
comedy.
it. Yeah,
It's going to be funnier.
More darkness. Yeah.
All right, before we get into Mailbag, just a reminder, we're going to answer live Twitter questions at the end of the show after Mailbag. You can tweet us at AMC Movie News. So, Chrisley, what's the first Mailbag question?
Louis Fonseca writes, hello, Movie Talk sweaty nerds. Just wanted to say you have the best movie news show on the internet. Thanks, Louis. Anyways, who would you guys like to have on your show to talk movies with you guys? For me, I would love to see Chris Stuckman, and a lot of people want to see him. Also, anyone you guys would like to have?
I would go with Kevin Smith or Quentin Tarantino because they're both very talkative. They're very engaged. They love to talk about
You wouldn't get a word in
films.
with Kevin, but it would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, it'd be a lot of fun. And especially with Tarantino, I think it'd be an interesting discussion because I think he's a fantastic director and writer, but I'd like to argue with him about his viewpoints on film versus digital because I think he's very stubborn on that.
He is.
Alicia, what do you think?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing that I would love to see. I mean, we've got Schnepp, and he's obviously so brilliant, so I'd love to see more people from the industry, more directors, producers, people not just promoting their film, but commenting on the daily news. I think that would be really interesting. I've also been talking with Chris Stuckman, and he wants to come on the show. He's going to be in LA in September, so maybe we'll see him, I don't know. And of course, Morty, but I take her everywhere with me.
Schnepp?
I would say Rain Johnson.
Yes.
From Looper.
Ryan, yeah.
Ryan, sorry.
Yeah.
I've seen him speak many times.
He's a film geek.
Darren Aronofsky would be a lot of fun. I've seen him speak, and those guys are really intelligent and smart. I'd love to hear their opinions about our normal movies that we all talk about. So that would just spice everything up, especially, you know, a guest of that nature would just be a really good treat for everyone, I think. So.
Yeah.
Maud, who do you think we should get on here to spice things up?
Well, honestly, the first person that did come to mind is Alicia. But I mean, we are best friends and we are not sick of each other. But every time I need my movie news or advice about anything, she's my gal. But if we're going to represent the Australian side of things, I kind of want to draw attention to a guy called Mark Fennell. He does movie reviews back home in Australia, and he does really clever, bite-sized, 90-second, pack-a-punch, very hilarious movie reviews. And I think that, he's very, very clever.
He just has to come to LA because he's in Sydney and he's a new dad, so it might not happen, but he would be fantastic.
Yeah,
why can't we beam these people in? We have the technology.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Come on, guys, let's beam them in.
To Australia.
All right, Chrisley, what's next?
I'm a little jealous that I don't get to go everywhere with Alicia and Maud. I'm just going to throw that out there. They go everywhere together, and I'd like to be part of that somehow.
You can.
Trellis Howard writes, hey guys, love the show. It goes great with my coffee in the mornings. My question is, how cool would it be if Christopher Nolan did a movie about vampires and werewolves, and would you be interested in it? Keep up the good work and bring on the filthy.
Don't know if cool is the right word. Interesting is probably a more proper word to that.
Yeah.
I think people would get, especially the Nolan fanboys, would be kind of upset if he did a vampire werewolf movie.
Yes.
But it's Chris Nolan, so I would definitely go see it. What about you, Alicia?
I'm done with vampires and werewolves.
Yeah.
Enough with them. I've had enough. Let's move on to something else. Space is the next frontier, and that's why I'm excited about Interstellar.
What about outer space werewolves and outer space
No.
vampire fighting?
Would you want?
That's what they have. Drinking coffee now, dude.
We're just sharing coffee with you since this is your morning cup of Joseph.
Your guys' thoughts? Snap?
I have zero thoughts about that. I would hate to see it. How about that? I have a lot of thoughts about it. Not zero. No.
No.
That would be horrible. Interstellar, even though that last trailer showed way too much and it got me angry that they're like ruining movies now with like the third trailer, like just in case we haven't sold you and we know everyone wants to see it, here's almost all of the movie. Cut it out. That's my little anger quote about don't ruin Nolan's movie. I've been waiting to see it.
Get it out of your system. Look, Nolan would never accept this, I don't think. I don't think he would ever do a vampire or werewolf movie. But should he put his print on it? Yeah, I'd watch it. And I would sit there going, because that's all the entertainment value it would provide. But at the same time, Alicia, really? No vampires at all? What if I spoke to you like this the entire time?
No.
Oh, I really thought I nailed that.
But Nolan wouldn't do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nolan wouldn't do that.
No, that's true.
No one wants to see that more.
No.
I'm joking.
All right, what's next?
George Davies, sorry if I butchered that, George, writes, "Hey AMC crew, Tarantino is amazing without a doubt, but is he a better director or screenwriter?"
That one's tough because he's great at both, but he has weaknesses in both areas as well. I'm going to go with screenwriter purely because one of my favorite Tarantino movies is True Romance, which he wrote but didn't direct. Tony Scott, Ridley Scott's brother, directed that,
Right.
and it's one of my favorite Tarantino movies. So that's my proof that he's an awesome screenwriter as well. So what about you, Schnepp?
Boy, that's a tough one. I would have to go with. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's really hard.
I love the way he directs films. So
do I.
I know. I hate that you wrote this question. Making us put this choice. Would you save your mom or your dad? But yet you would have to cut your leg off if you one of those weird ones. I'm gonna I'll say I think he's an incredible writer, and whatever he writes is usually done really well. I know he was angry about Natural Born Killers because Stone went so far off and added all his own stuff and changed the script so much. I remember just reading a lot about how angry he was with the version of Natural Born Killers because it mutated his script so much. When you're a writer and you write it and then you direct it, you see exactly how you want it to go, and then you're able to actuate it. That's the power of a writer-director. So when you're just a director, you're re-envisioning someone else's written script. Unless you're on the same page with them, you're changing certain things that were visually in their mind when they were creating it. So the writer of all media is usually, it's better if they're allowed to either be with the director working on it side by side, just to make sure things are interpreted the right way, or if they're interpreted different, it's changed different for the better of the whole script and not just an accent that doesn't make sense. So I'm going to go with writer in a long-winded way.
Maud?
It's kind of funny. You look up on IMDb, he's got 23 writing credits, he's got 16 directing credits, and he's got 30 acting credits. The guy really secretly wants to be an actor, which is why he loves to direct these movies, because there's always got a cameo in there somewhere.
Right.
So I think I actually kind of prefer him acting, even though he's a little bit annoying in there. I just like doing a Quentin Tarantino impersonation. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do the movie, all right?
What about Quentin doing the Australian accent
And
in
Django?
Django
Honestly, that was one of
That
the worst
was
parts of that
so
film. I love that
so
movie.
great.
was.
It's just bad.
It
It's
took me out of the
so
movie.
awful.
And it was also a really long sequence. Why is it so long and strange? And
Yeah.
now he's walking over to the horse and,
there
it's
was-
extra long.
There was
It's
some long-winded thing about how Australians were slaves too, and they came over and anyway, it didn't make sense. But
Didn't he blow up?
yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah,
thought I
yeah,
was
yeah.
imagining that.
Spoiler!
Spoiler alert, mate.
That's ruining things again.
This is really hard to choose because I love him as a director. He definitely pushes boundaries, and he's so great at these genre films without making them into spoofs or imitations. But I love his dialogue. So I would go with screenwriter. I mean, he has given us some really memorable monologues, and it seems like it would be so much fun. What about Ezekiel 25:17 or Royale with Cheese or Tim Roth, Mr. Orange, doing his monologue when he was practicing what he was going to say.
So amazing.
The opening scene in Reservoir Dogs, or my favourite, which is Fox Force 5. Fox, as in we're a bunch of foxy chicks. Force, because we're a force to be reckoned with. 5, as in there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us.
Yeah,
I love it.
nailed
Not gonna
so
lie,
much fun.
I have heard her do that all the time.
I love that quote. It's my favourite. So I would go with screenwriter. He's just delivered some incredible dialogue.
All right, guys. So now on to our live questions. You can tweet us at AMC Movie News, and we're going to try to get to a few. Chris Lee, what do we got pulled out?
Hold on 1 second. Everything just froze on me. The computers, everything. Of course. All right. Quinn Reader wants to know, do you guys have any thoughts on a Call of Duty movie? Why or why not?
Call of Duty movie. Well, I've played some of them, not all of them. The strength of Call of Duty is not in the storyline. It's basically in the gameplay mechanics and shooting. It's all kind of a little ridiculous, over the top. So I'm sure they're going to make one because it's so popular. And they probably should get to it sooner than later because, like some video franchises, they're starting to lose its kind of popularity.
Right.
You guys feel anyway? Mod?
Well, yeah, big gamer here. So I think they're actually trying to make the games more like movies. So they got Kevin Spacey in the recent Call of Duty Ghosts, and it was almost like a cinematic experience playing that in the single-player campaign. But you're so right, Call of Duty is all about multiplayer gaming. But we have seen Need for Speed be turned into a movie. And Need for Speed doesn't even have characters. You are a car driving. That's it. Yet they have made a full cinematic movie with Aaron Paul that had a storyline, albeit it wasn't great, but they still made it.
Yeah.
Do I think they should touch Call of Duty and make it into a movie? No. No, because, well, I mean, look at the history of other times that they've tried to do that. I love Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, but they are critically a flop. Get over here. Leave it alone,
Right?
Snap.
I would go for it. I love Call of Duty, the whole game franchise. I played it when it was World War II. I went all the way through like modern, warfare. One of the strengths of these video games is that you are involved. You're the character doing these things. I mean, whether it's brutally like swimming and then like knifing someone, you're like, wow, that's horrible. I just killed somebody. It's like they're pretty gory. They're pretty realistic. Sometimes like you're shooting people and you don't think about it, but then they actually go to these like up close gory things where it's pretty the horrors of war right there with Call of Duty. But when you're playing online, it's a lot about camping and little kids swearing at you, and that stuff really got boring. So I've only done the solo missions, and I don't go online because I don't want to I'm hiding out waiting for someone to spawn, and then I'm going to shoot.
You're waiting for racist and homophobic things to be yelled at you.
Boring.
My mum apparently gets so much action when I play video games and go online because it's anyway.
So I think a movie version of it could be done really well. I would love to see. I know this sounds weird, but I would love to see a first-person version of Call of Duty. You can lock a camera onto somebody's head and shoot it, just sort of like Aliens. Like everybody has lockdown cameras.
Wouldn't it be great with Peter Berg directing?
I think it would actually.
With his kind of
I honestly,
aesthetic
I
would
think
be
there is
cool.
something there using the aesthetic of first person that has not been done yet, and just do it through the whole movie. And you might have something really special. And I think if you do it with Call of Duty, that's a win. So.
And really, you could get into the mind like you do with gaming, and you could experience the horrors of war.
And characters can die. Their cameras shut off, and you're left with one person at the end.
Found footage, it's all the rage.
But if this becomes successful, you're guaranteed to get a Battlefield movie straight away, and then you're going to see all the other plethora of games that are going, well, now we can make movies too, and then it'll kind
if
of
they're good, I don't have a problem with it.
Right, there's no problem being the first in line to break through. I think that's what you're more of a gamer than I am, but I would love to see a lot of adaptations of games. We've got one coming with Warcraft. There's a lot of games, Assassin's Creed. There's movies on the horizon that are game-based that are possibly going to be that one that spins it out and makes it, everybody jump on. So.
All right, another question, Chris Lee?
Joshua Rothmel says, after the success of Guardians of the Galaxy, will Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles beat it at the box office this weekend?
I don't think so, especially after seeing the whole 90 million opening. Maybe if it was 60, 70, I was like, oh, maybe there's a chance. But with 90, I don't think the drop-off is going to be very high. You guys have any other opinions?
I think people will go and see Guardians again and again and again. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles does have the advantage of appealing to kids, though. So maybe they will bring more audience into the theatre. But I just think everyone is all about Guardians right now, and especially after this box office. people who haven't seen Guardians will go, oh, I should go check it out. It sounds like it could be good.
Was the official, wasn't it 94 million?
94 million.
It's closer to the 100 that I said, guys. Anyway, yeah, so I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will be a giant hit. It will be #1 at the box office, but Guardians will be right under it.
Yeah.
So it's going to still scrape away a lot of that money that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would have gotten. But I, for one, am really excited. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm going to see it. You know, when it opens, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It looks exciting to me. I wasn't a big fan of the old cartoons, so. Oh, well.
I was a fan of the cartoons, and now that we've seen Edward Scissorhands, I'm a little bit disappointed. And the fact that I interviewed the creator of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he was like,
Eastman or Laird?
yeah, Laird.
Eastman.
Oh, was
Okay.
it?
Yeah.
Eastman.
They're both
Kevin
rich
Eastman,
beyond like they ever dreamed of. I remember I read the black and white comic books, you know, and they were like doing that like out of their garage and something.
Yeah.
And now like they're totally like.
Here's some cartoon money.
Exactly.
Here's some movie money. Yeah.
It's all about
Bring
the
it
toys,
on.
man.
Yeah, true. It'll be
Yeah,
merchandise.
toys.
But they're really nice. Kevin Eastman's a great guy, and I'm
Yeah.
glad he deserves it.
He's lovely.
All right, Chris Lee, what do we got?
Matt Acquired says, just saw Apes and was blown away. Best work by Andy Serkis by far, which is saying something. Will he get an Oscar nomination?
I think
the
we talked about
debate.
this before. Probably not. I
This
mean,
is the debate, isn't
yeah.
it? If he gets one, then the visual effects team
Exactly.
needs to as well. It's hard to equate. I mean, I think he brings so much to that character, so you can't say that it's all effects.
Right.
But then you can't say that it would work without the effects.
Yeah.
You know what I think would be a
tricky
great
thing.
thing is if it won for special effects
Yeah.
for an Oscar, that the special effects team brings him on for an
Yes.
honorary
That would be
Oscar.
great.
Because that's what it is. It's wrapped in. It's a
teamwork.
wrapped in team thing, not one without the other. They're together. So, you know, like I was saying before, until you just press a button, like, oh, you acted there, now there it is. Until there's a machine that does not involve humans at all changing or subtly affecting your performance, it's just a machine capturing everything, and then now you're a dinosaur. Until that actually happens, then it has to be the team effort. So I would love to see that happen. You know?
I just want to be a dinosaur now.
I'm going to create that button. Dinosaur. Back to Mom.
I would love to see him get an Oscar, though. That would be awesome.
It would be cool.
All right, guys, that's all the time that we have. So thanks for joining us. I'd like to thank the people at the table. First, our first Aussie to my left, Alicia. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Alicia Malone.
Aussie number 2, Maud. Where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, which is at Maud Garrett, and catch geekbomb.net.
Dinosaur.
And Aussie number 3, John Schnepp.
Don't you dare.
You guys can find me at John Schnepper Instagram and
God.
Twitter, and you can support SupermanLives.com, get a sweaty nerd shirt, and help me finish my film.
Every time you do an Australian accent, an
All
Australian
right.
dies.
All right, all yours, take it easy, guys.
Oh my
Less
goodness.
than Tarantino.
And our lovely host, Chris Lee. Where can people find you?
You guys can find me everywhere at Chris Lee.
And you can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero or on Instagram, Dennis.tzeng. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/AMC Theaters, and see you guys sometime soon.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.
Radio always does it, and he sounds Scottish. Because listen to me, I'm Australian now.